The northern valley was silent that morning. The kind of silence that comes after something has been taken away. Snow drifted through the black pines, wrapping the forest in white whispers. And somewhere between the frozen ridge and the river's edge, a lone wolf walked, slow, cautious, and tired. He had no pack, no trail to follow. They called him Rhaen, the ghost of the hollow woods. He had once been alpha, but that was long ago, before hunger, before exile, before he learned that even leaders can be forgotten by the ones they protect. That day, Rhaen hunted not for power, not for pride, but for survival. The cold had been cruel that season. Deer were gone. The streams had frozen. Every sound echoed like a memory. Then, in the faint distance, he heard something. Not prey. A cry. High-pitched, thin, breaking through the still air like glass. He followed the sound through the forest until he reached a fallen tree near the cliffs. There, tangled in snow and broken branches, lay a small eagle chick, feathers soaked, one wing bent the wrong way, trembling, helpless. It was too young to fly, too fragile to live. Rhaen stood over it, breath forming clouds in the air. Every instinct told him to leave or end its suffering quickly. But something in the tiny heartbeat beneath those feathers stopped him. Maybe it was the silence in its eyes, the same silence he carried inside himself. So he did something wolves are not known to do. He picked it up gently, carefully, and carried it home. His home was a cave halfway up the northern ridge. Dark, wind-bitten, and narrow, but dry. Rhaen laid the chick on a bed of dry moss and curled his body around it to block the wind. Days passed. He hunted small hares, brought pieces of meat back, and placed them near the chick. At first, it didn't eat. But by the third day, hunger overcame fear, and the tiny beak began to move. It wasn't much, but it was life. Rhaen licked its feathers clean, removed thorns from its wing, and kept the fire of its body warmth alive through the nights. The eagle began to heal. The snow outside thickened. And within that frozen world, something impossible began to grow: trust. Weeks became months. The chick turned into a young eagle, its feathers sharper, its gaze clearer. But one wing still hung lower. It could not fly. Rhaen would climb to the ridge every morning, look down at the world below, and howl softly. The eagle would answer, not with a howl, but a shriek, its voice small yet filled with echo. Two exiles, two survivors, speaking across silence. Sometimes, Rhaen hunted too far. Once, he was attacked by two rival wolves. He came home bleeding, limping. The eagle limped toward him, dragging its broken wing, and pressed its head against his muzzle. That night, they didn't sleep. They just breathed together, listening to the wind outside. Spring arrived. Snow melted into rivers. The valley turned green again, and prey returned. But danger returned, too. Hunters came, humans. Setting traps near the riverbanks, chasing with rifles and dogs. Rhaen had smelled their scent before. He had lost his pack to them once. One evening, as he and the eagle rested by the river, a gunshot cracked the silence. The sound scattered birds into the air. The eagle shrieked in panic, flapping one good wing, while Rhaen growled low. He couldn't run far, the sound came from all directions. Dogs were close. He looked at the eagle, small, scared, unable to fly. And he did what only the brave and broken ever do. He stood his ground. The first hound came through the trees, teeth bared. Rhaen leapt before it could bark. Fur and snow exploded together as he bit and twisted, old strength surging like wildfire. The second dog came, larger, faster. He struck it too. But then came the gunfire. Rhaen stumbled, the bullet grazed his shoulder. The eagle screamed, flapping wildly, hopping forward as if to protect him, ridiculous, hopeless, beautiful. The hunters shouted, reloading. Rhaen turned, bleeding, and nudged the eagle toward the bushes. Go. Hide. But the bird didn't move. Another shot rang out. Then, something changed. The eagle spread its half-healed wings, both trembling, and leapt. Not high, not strong, but enough. Enough to rise into the air. Enough to distract the hunters. Rhaen saw it climb, awkward but alive. He ran limping, panting, away from the gunfire, deeper into the woods, until both were lost in shadow. By dawn, the forest was quiet again. Blood marked Rhaen's trail, but he survived. He reached the old cave and collapsed. Hours passed. Maybe days. He drifted between pain and dream, hearing the echo of wings somewhere above. Then, one morning, sunlight poured into the cave. And a shadow moved across it, large, graceful, and powerful. He opened his eyes. There, standing at the entrance, was the eagle. No longer a chick. No longer broken. Its wings stretched wide, each feather gleaming gold in the light. It let out a cry that shook the mountain, not of pain, but of promise. Rhaen raised his head weakly, tail thumping once against the stone. The eagle hopped closer, dropped a small rabbit before him, and nudged it forward. For the first time, the hunter was being fed. Seasons turned. They became a legend, the wolf and the eagle. Rangers caught glimpses, a lone wolf walking the ridge with a great bird circling overhead. Hunters swore they heard howls and cries echoing together across valleys. Some said it was superstition. Others called it a guardian spirit, protector of the northern woods. But deep inside that wilderness, away from human eyes, Rhaen and the eagle lived in rhythm. The wolf hunted, the eagle scouted. When danger neared, the eagle would cry from above. When storms came, Rhaen would find shelter first. They were no longer bound by instinct alone. They had become something else, family born not of blood, but of choice. Years passed. Rhaen grew old. His muzzle turned white, his legs slower. But the eagle, now full-grown and strong, never left his side. When he hunted, it followed. When he rested, it perched nearby. Then came the winter storm, the worst in a decade. Winds roared, trees cracked, and snow buried the valley. For 2 days, Rhaen and the eagle were trapped in their cave, waiting for calm. On the third night, Rhaen couldn't rise. His body was too cold, too tired. He looked at the eagle and blinked slowly, a farewell only old souls understand. The eagle shrieked softly, lowering its head beside him. And when the storm broke at dawn, it flew not to escape, but to call for help. High over the valley, its cry echoed until it reached a nearby wolf pack, one that had long since taken Rhaen's old territory. They came cautiously, sniffing, approaching the cave. And there, for the first time in years, the eagle stood guard, wings outspread, refusing to let them harm him. But they didn't come to fight. They came to listen. And when Rhaen took his final breath, they howled, not in dominance, but in mourning. For days after, the eagle stayed by the frozen cave. Then, when spring came, it lifted off again, higher than ever before. From above, the valley looked different. It was brighter, calmer. And down below, where snow had melted, the new pack roamed peacefully, never touching Rhaen's resting place. Every year since, when storms return, locals say they see a great eagle circling the ridge. And sometimes, faintly, a lone wolf walking beneath it. Some call it myth. Others call it memory. But those who listen closely say the forest still echoes with their voices, one howl, one cry, perfectly in sync. In the end, this was never just a story about survival. It was about what happens when two broken lives find each other and choose not to give up. Rhaen taught the eagle that strength is not in wings, it's in rising again when they're broken. And the eagle taught Rhaen that even the ones left behind can still touch the sky. Because sometimes, the ones who walk alone are not lost. They're just waiting for someone who reminds them what home feels like. And when the night falls over the northern valley, and the moon lights the snow, some say you can still hear them. A wolf's howl carried by the wind. And an answering cry from the clouds above. Telling the world that love, once found, never truly fades.